It's several minutes of you moving up and down this corridor, shooting every spy in sight. How many takes did that require to get that down?
I don't really remember. It wasn't that many takes.
4. That was 4. I think that was number 4 of 5.
Yeah,
So
it was a oneer. So it was, we had to kind of choreograph it. I mean, the show was so fast paced that I think we choreographed it like the day before or something.
They practiced for a day.
Yeah.
She practiced for a day to do that.
I had a step double as well helping.
You punched him, if I remember correctly. Too.
I did punch him.
You hurt him badly.
I didn't need to. But I only had a day to learn it, and they trusted me somehow. No, it was super cool, and I mean, I love doing things in one take. I think it's such a blast, but that was quite a unique thing, having to flip grown men over and like just learning to do it. And
it's crazy when you run and dive over and do that crazy dive at the end.
Yeah, that's interesting because that's the stunt double's part. She came in from behind the camera. It was a whole maneuver. I do not claim that I can do that. Yeah.
So you did it.
Oh my God, I did.
I'm trying to set you up over here.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
But beyond that one particular physical feat, what were some of the challenges and what were some of the exciting things about getting to play so many different characters within this one story in all these different genres?
I mean, it was a complete blast. Every day was like especially near the end once we were getting down to the nitty gritty, because there were times where we could kind of like, I don't know how many. Can I just ask? How many people in this audience have actually seen the whole show? Oh, good amount. Okay.
Right. Good enough.
Good enough. So episode 4, if you know Linda Marino and Bruce Marino, like from Long Island, that was pretty much shot all in a 2-week span. Like we were able to do some of it kind of chronologically, but near the end, it got insane. Like where we were playing 3 characters throughout a day, or like 2. It was just like getting all the final kind of pieces in the lab, and when. In episode 5, sorry to talk about other episodes, forget it. Episode 9 and 10. Episode 9 and 10. But it was really challenging and fun and fascinating to, I guess anybody could do this, but if you were to split your personality into elements of yourself, like the part of yourself that lies in order to win someone over, or the part of yourself that is, desperate to get past something but really would rather punish yourself for it instead, or just all of these kind of psychological elements that we all have in different ways. It was so cool to take one person and split her into these other people from all these different types. It was just such an amazing way to sort of create this dreamscape of a human being's life and psychology, and it was really, really I think a very rewarding experience as an actor, but also just like as a person who goes to therapy. Like the idea was so cool to sort of like look at those elements of yourself and sort of externalize them. It was very interesting. Although none of the elements in me have ever been a Cold War alien assassin.
Are you sure about that?
I'm sure so far. Let's see a couple of years from now.
But what you're talking about is interesting, because it would be very easy to sort of look at Linda and the woman who's trying to steal the Don Quixote book and everything else that you play as just, ooh, these are separate characters.
Well, one of the elements I love about Linda is when she is, she's been married to the same person for a very long time. She's a mother, she's a caretaker, she's a nurse. And when we cut back to Annie later on, and Mantle Ray and Annie are doing the kind of truth test, when she says she's a wife and a mother, which is the opposite of anything I've ever wanted to be, her score reduces, as if she was lying, as if it's not true. And so it's this part of herself that she's completely pushed down because she's so isolated. And like moments like that were so wonderful, because of course you still hold these big dreams and ideals, but when you're depressed or when you're hurting in some way, you can kind of convince yourself that that's not something you would ever really want, because you don't want to connect with other people. So it was really...
There was kind of an ongoing thing in making of the show where the idea was that like there were kind of 5 versions of us, and you have to close the door on some of them as you get older. You can't be all of them at once, and like the idea of the show is, what if you get to see like even the ones you've forgotten about because you closed the door, you had to, for whatever reason.
Well, there's that Joan Didion quote, right? That like I recommend staying in contact. It's like it's something like I'm completely paraphrasing Joan Didion, which is fucked up to do. Sorry, but the idea is like she recommends that you stay on speaking terms with the person that you used to be, or the people that you used to be. And it's kind of that like all of these sort of layered Russian dolls within you. That is like the
Don't talk about Russian dolls. How dare you?
Now available on Netflix.
Family guys, it's okay. But Emma, was there one of the different alter egos that was particularly either fun or challenging for you to play?
Oh yeah, the one that I hated the very most.
Sure.
The elf in episode 8. I don't like that stuff at all.
It's your least
It's my least
favorite genre.
favorite genre, but that Patrick so lovingly, when I told him, he was like, got an idea. You're gonna play an elf. It's gonna be awesome. And I was like, no, it's not. That sounds awful. I wanted to do that ever. And so he kind of, what was it, the Han Solo effect he said? Where it's like, Annie hates it too. So she's like, I fucking hate fantasy. And like she's an elf that's cutting her own ears off. She's only half elf. Like she's really upset about being an elf. And so that was awesome. That was a great version of and it's also very Annie. I mean, thankfully it wasn't just like you were doing that to try to appeal to an actor who's very annoying.
Well, in the spirit,
partially.
you did threaten to leave the show at that moment. So
I
was just
did.
coming off the show.
I was being sarcastic.
No, but in the spirit of the kind of like the metaphor of the show, I think like there's a version of us that we don't want to know at all.
Yeah.
You know, and that
Just
I
the
think
elf
that-
version.
the elf version.
If one of you wants to be the elf version,
Half
get
elf,
out.